Yeah, my apologies. I done pressed the wrong button and ended the whole live stream, but I was trying to do something, but it's never here nor there. I'm gonna continue cooking. Um, but yeah, like I was saying, it's the whole Oscar Valdez and Shakur Stevenson um fight. He like I said, Bud Crawford was using that for the game, the support of the fans. Because how can you say what's going on, Crush Legend? Yeah, my bad, man. I didn't press the wrong button and cut the whole live off. That was my mistake. But appreciate you coming back. But I'm gonna keep cooking. Yeah. So like I said, you was the highest paid fighter on top ranked roster up until they signed Tyson Fury. So how can you say it was you was being discriminated against? The man got you all the way up to he got you all the way up to the top of the mountain. You was the undisputed champion at 140. Um, Now you saying he was discriminating against you because he didn't get you the fights that you wanted, but you knew that before you re-signed with him. The um you've been asking for the Manny Pacquiao fight since 2014, 2015, and you he never gave you the fight, but you still decided to sign with him anyway. So I don't understand how can you say you've been discriminated against. Um, the man gave you everything he gave you everything that you possibly was going to get. Like I said, he gave you the undisputed. You had one of the me personally, you had the easiest road to undisputed. So, I mean, besides of Canelo, you had one of the easiest roads to undisputed. You got the undisputed fight, you went to 147. You got the Jeff Horn fight. And then you decided to re-sign with him again, and at all this time, you was promised the Manny Pacquiao fight, and he never gave you the Manny Pacquiao fight. So why would you re-sign with somebody if they're not giving you what you're asking for? You asked for the Manny Pacquiao fight for years, and he never gave it to you, but you still decided to re-sign with him. Why would you re-sign with somebody that's not giving you the fight that you want? I would never re-sign with someone. I would never work for a company and they promised me to be a supervisor, and I was there for 3, 4 years, and they said, "Oh, it's still coming," and then I see there's another offer on the table for me to go elsewhere. I'm not going to stay with that company. You said you promised me I would get supervisor or whatever, and you never gave it to me. I'm not going to stay with that company. I'm gonna leave and go somewhere else. So, but like I said, I mean, I believe he's using it to gain the trust of the fans and get the backing of the fans. Because when you look at the 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 whole lawsuit, I don't believe he's going to win that portion of the lawsuit. Now, to be perfectly honest with you, I hope he do win. I hope he win. I want him to win. I just don't think he's going to win that portion of the lawsuit. I think he will win the 900,000 that he's out of. I appreciate y'all coming back through. I didn't press something and cut off the whole stream. I appreciate y'all coming back through Queen G5 or whatever. But like I said, I want him to win the lawsuit. I'm hoping that he win the lawsuit. I'm pulling for him to win the lawsuit, but I don't think he's going to win the lawsuit. I think he's going to win the portion of him being out of fight and him being out of the 900,000. The discrimination portion of the lawsuit, I don't think he has a leg to stand on. Um, so I mean that's my whole take on it. I mean it's really uh it's really clear if you look at the whole his whole career and from us as the boxing fans that's been following Terrence Crawford career and been following all of these fighters, when you look at it, he doesn't really have a leg to stand on because, like I said, you asked for the Manny Pacquiao fight for years. He never gave it to you, and then you decided to re-sign. What made you think that he was going to give it to you now that Manny Pacquiao is not with Top Rank and you re-sign? What changed? What gave you a thought in your head that, oh yeah, he's going to give it to me this time? No, he didn't give it to you the years that Manny Pacquiao was there. He's not going to give it to you now. And now that Manny Pacquiao left, he's with PBC. You already know Bob and Al Heyman don't really do business together like that. So what made you think you was going to get the Manny Pacquiao fight? Then you asked for the 900,000 for the Earl Spence fight. Like I said, you know that he don't really do business with Al Heyman. You didn't get the Manny Pacquiao fight. How you figured he was going to give you Earl Spence? Now, how can somebody say, okay, take this fight, I'm gonna give you 900,000, but after you finish this fight, I'm gonna give you the Earl Spence fight? Earl Spence is not signed to Top Rank, so how can he promise you an Earl Spence fight if he's not signed to Top Rank? He can say, I try to get you the Earl Spence fight, but he can't promise you an Earl Spence fight if Earl Spence is not with that company. It didn't make sense. And your manager / promoter, he should have known that as well. How can you give us a fight that is not signed, that a fighter is not signed to us? So I mean, it is what it is. But like I said, I'm not going into it no more. I mean, I'm done with it. I just found out what happened when the case is over with. We didn't been going through it for the past week and a half now. So I mean, that's what everybody's talking about. I mean, I speak on it here and there or whatever, but I'm not even wasting no more energy on it. We'll find out what happens when the case is over with. Because like I said, he's only putting the discrimination portion in there just to get the backing of the fans. He's not doing it for no other reason. He just wants the fans to support him, and so that's why he put that in there. That's what I believe. Not saying that's true, but that's what I believe. But far as the Oscar Valdez fight and Shakur Stevenson, I believe a part of me believed that it has something to do with the whole lawsuit. Another part of me believed that it was because Lomachenko turned down that Shakur Stevenson fight, and he had to get Shakur Stevenson another fight, and there was really no other fight to get him. And you got this champion right here. You already had the whole situation with Bud. You didn't know that the lawsuit was going to come about until it came about, but I think that just gave it another push to get that Shakur Stevenson fight. Daryl said Bob just said so Bud could stay with him. Yeah, that's what I believe. I mean, of course, that's exactly what Bob said. He was going to get him in a fight just so he could stay with Top Rank. I mean, that's what any employer would do. They will say something just to keep you with their company if they feel you a valuable asset to their company. They're going to say whatever they got to say to keep you with that company. So I honestly believe that's exactly what Bob did. He said that just to keep him with his company. What's going on, Andrew 100? Appreciate you coming through. But the Shakur Stevenson, the Oscar Valdez, like I said, I believe part of me believed it was because of the lawsuit. Another part of me believed because Lomachenko turned that fight down. He said he don't want to fight Shakur Stevenson for one belt when he could fight for four belts. So it was basically Bob didn't have no other fight for Shakur Stevenson lined up because it was supposed to be Oscar Valdez versus Navarrete, and he was trying to make the Lomachenko fight versus Shakur Stevenson because I think he believed that the Kambosos fight is going to go through with Devin Haney. That's why he came out now saying he's willing to outbid Eddie Hearn for the Cambosa fight. So that's what I believe. What was the reason why Shakur Stevenson got the Oscar Valdez fight? Because, like I said, it was supposed to be Shakur Stevenson versus Loma, and it was supposed to be Oscar Valdez versus Navarrete. Now, when the whole lawsuit came out and he made the Shakur Stevenson fight, now we're hearing news that Bob Earn is trying to outbid um, Eddie Hearn for the Cambosa fight, which I find is garbage. And I mean, Cambosa. I mean, this man sounding and acting exactly like Tio right now. This is the exact same thing Tio did when Tio won the championship. He said he was going to fight Devin Haney next. That's who he need to fight to be undisputed and all that. And then he turned around and ducked Devin Haney. And this is the same thing that Cambosa is doing right now. He's saying the next fight should be Devin Haney because Devin Haney has the real WBC belt. He's not undisputed until he gets that belt. Now he's turning around and calling himself undisputed, and he's shopping who's going to give him the highest bid. Uh, I'm like, make the fight, make the fight. We want a undisputed. You cannot be called undisputed if somebody is disputing your championship. It's not disputing whether you have the WBA, the WBO, the IBF. We're disputing the WBC championship because Devin Haney has the real belt. You have a franchise belt that you never fought for. You didn't fight for the franchise belt. You fought for the WBA, the WBO, and the IBF because the franchise belt is not a belt that you can fight for. You have to petition for the franchise belt. So how can you say you're the undisputed champion if you never fought the WBC champion? You cannot fight for a WBC franchise belt. Mauricio already put it out there. That's not a belt that you fight for. That's a belt that is awarded to you. You don't fight for that belt. So you cannot be considered the undisputed champion if you didn't fight for the belt. You petition for the belt. That's the only way you can get it is to petition for that belt. So he needs to go ahead and make this fight. He's talking about he wanted to have it in Australia, but how you going to have it in Australia when Australia is talking about shutting everything down? They slowly but surely shutting everything down. Not to mention, you're not a big draw. You talking about, oh, I can have 80,000 fans over here in Australia. How? If you was going to have 80,000 fans over there in Australia, Triller would have put you over there in Australia because they was trying to get people to buy the tickets. They couldn't get nobody to buy the tickets for you and Tio. So how you going to have 80,000 fans now for Devin Haney, but you couldn't have 80,000 fans to fight Tio for the champion for those champion belts that he had? So you're not a draw in Australia. You just another boxer that's coming from Australia. You're not a draw. You never did a pay-per-view fight. You never sold out no arena that you ever fought in. Nobody really knew who you was until you fought Tio. Most fans never heard of you. And then I guess the only reason I knew about you is because of Conor Loco. Shout out to Conor Loco. He told me about you, and I went back and looked at a couple of your fights, and I picked you to beat Tio. I picked you to beat Tio by a split decision, which that's what you won by, a split decision. You know, the only reason it was a split decision is because you got knocked down in the 10th round. But nobody knows you. They know about you now because of Devin Haney and Tio. Nobody knew who you was. What's going on, Gio? Appreciate you. But so, like I said, I don't see him. I don't see them fighting in Australia. No cap. He said Australia has camps for C19 positive people. Look it up. I mean, yeah, they got camps for C19. I mean, that means there's a lot of people over there tested positive. So that's what I'm saying. Why would you want to fight somewhere where you can possibly catch COVID-19? I mean, COVID-19 ain't no joke. There's a lot of people died from it. I know people that died from it. I'm quite sure y'all know people that died from it. I wouldn't want to fight me where is a possibility that I catch it and I'm fighting for a championship and I gotta postpone the fight because either the person I'm supposed to be fighting for undisputed caught it or I caught it or somebody in my camp caught it, so they postponed my fight or whatever. So why would you want to go there and fight? What's going on, Bumpy Thompson? What's going on, Brown on Boxing? Why would you want to fight there? So I mean, that's just it's crazy to me. I but I mean you can't, and then you try to get the Tank Davis fight, but you can't get the Tank Davis fight because Tank Davis don't care about your belts. Those belts is not going to do anything for it. What's going on, Bruce Gold? What's going on, Southern T? Man, I'm having some issues over here. I was trying to send you the link over there, but for some reason this link is not pulling up on my screen right now. I don't know what's going on. The link is not pulling up. But yeah, so but yeah, that it's just it's like I said, that's it's I find it very funny how he's trying to dictate what he's going to do with the belts when you're not a draw. You're not an A side to none of these fighters. You're not an A side of Loma. You're not an A side of Devin. You're not an A side of Tank. And Devin is the only one that's willing to give you everything that you ask for. Loma's not going to. Bob Erm is not going to give you what you're looking for. You already did screw Bob Erm over earlier, so he's not gonna go in your favor with no fight. You and T.O. had that little stuff that y'all did behind his back. He hasn't forgot about it. Bumpy Thompson said, I think that he said I think that Cambosa is going to be forced to fight in the States, but I don't know who's going to fight. Oh yeah, I mean yeah, I believe he's going to be forced to fight in the States. I mean, if he want to the most make the most money for his fight, his best bet is to fight in the States. You can fight in Vegas where Devin fight at. He's going to sell out because it's going to be an undisputed fight. And like I said, Devin is from there, so I mean it's going to be a big fight. So why not fight in Vegas and make the biggest purse you ever made in your life? The biggest purse to date is what I think he made like 1.2 for that TO fight, or 1 million. It was either 1.2 or 1 million for that TO fight. So you fight Devin Haney, you're gonna get more than 1 million. You probably get like 2 or 3, maybe even a little bit more. But you definitely gonna get more than 1 million if you fight Devin, especially if you fight in Vegas. And that can be a pay-per-view fight. I believe that'll be Devin's first pay-per-view fight. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that'll be his first pay-per-view. So I mean, your best bet will be to fight in the States because nobody. Devin is the only one that's willing to go to Australia, but none of the other fighters is going to go to Australia to fight you. Leo Robinson said it's that Caucasian Caucasian they all move like this, finally win something. Yeah, they all move like that when they finally win something. Everybody try to hold on to their belt for dear life. They ain't trying to let them joints go at all. So I mean, it is what it is. What's going on, Al Green? Appreciate you coming through, man. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But like I said, these fighters they gotta stop doing all this talking and show more action. Like I said, like I always say, people respect you more for your actions. You say something and you stand on it and you follow through with that, people will respect you for that. They don't respect you for saying, hey, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then you turn around and say, nah, I'm gonna go over here because there's more money over here. Especially when the fight that you said you was gonna do is the more meaningful fight. It's a legacy fight, and it's the fight that the people want. But you trying to go over here just to get a bigger payday. Okay, you go over there and get a bigger payday. Nobody's picking you to win in none of these fights. You're not picked to win in not near one of these fights. So you're going to lose regardless. And like I said, your biggest payday will be with Devin Haney. It's not going to be with Bob. It's not going to be with Floyd. It's going to be with Devin Haney. That's going to be your biggest payday. So you need to make that fight. And I want to talk a little bit about the Gary Russell fight. It's fight week. Lil Cuz got a fight coming up this weekend. I'm gonna try to get up there to the fight. I'm gonna see if I can talk to Batman and see if I can get some access or whatever. What's going on, Drew? Appreciate you coming through, man. But yeah. So I was looking at Mark's fight, his previous last couple of fights that he had. Um, his style is very similar to Manny Pacquiao. He jumps in and out a lot. He got good power. He got good power, but he jumps in and out a lot. And I noticed he swings a lot of wide shots as well. Um, it's going to be an interesting fight, only for the simple fact that Gary Russell hasn't fought since February 8th of 2020. So it's going to be an interesting fight to see him back in the ring. Um, I know he's up for the challenge. A lot of people saying they believe that Gary is going to knock him out and this, and that. Me personally, I don't think Gary is going to knock him out. I would love to see him knock him out. I don't think he's going to knock him out. I think it's going to be a unanimous decision in Gary's favor. And the reason I say that is because um, Gary, he hasn't been in the ring for 2 years, so he's in shape, but he's not in fight. Well, I mean, he is now. He wasn't in fighting shape just yet, because when you sit out for 2 years and you don't have a fight and you're not fighting anybody, you can go to the gym and work out and stay in shape all you want, but there's a difference when you get in that ring and you're actually fighting somebody. You gotta be able to keep your tools sharpened. So you just getting in the gym and working out or whatever. And when he sparred with Hawkins, the time when we was on BFTV and we saw him sparring with Hawkins, that was his first sparring match that he had in 18 months. So that's what I'm talking about. It's a difference with you staying active and you fighting. He's already only fighting once a year, and then he sat out for 2 years because he couldn't get a fight for 2 years. Why he couldn't get a fight in 2 years, I don't know. Because he was the WBC champion, he should have a mandatory every year. But I mean, it is what it is. We all know the politics of boxing or whatever. But him not being active for those 2 years, it takes a little bit from you. Now he'll get it back once he get into this fight and he gets going. But I just don't think he's gonna knock him out. I still think he's gonna be working his way back to get back into boxing shape. Like I said, you can be physically fit and have your endurance, but being in boxing shape is totally different than just being in actual shape, because your body is not used to getting hit. You sitting out for 2 years, and then your body got to get used to getting hit again, and so it takes a toll on you or whatever. So I mean, I got him beating him by unanimous decision because I think he's going to work. He's going to work Mark's body on the inside. I don't want to butcher his last name. That's why I just keep calling him by his first name. But I think he's going to work Mark's body, and he's going to use his hand speed. Now Mark got hand speed too, but his footwork is it's okay. It's not the greatest. It's not bad, but it's not the greatest. And like I said, he has that Manny Pacquiao type movement. He jumps in and he jumps out or whatever. He got a decent jab or whatever. He got decent hand speed, but I believe Gary experience and his ring IQ is what's going to prevail him to win this fight by unanimous decision. Because, like I said, Gary's been in boxing since he was 8 years old. So he spent basically his whole life in boxing. He's been in and out of the ring his whole life. So his experience is what's gonna carry him in this fight. Now, not saying that Mark is not experienced. He's just not as experienced as Gary Russell. Gary Russell been in there with a lot of different types of styles and a lot of different fighters. He's been in there with people that can bang. He's been in there with people that can move. He's been in there with people that brawls. So he's been in there with a lot of different styles. So his experience and his ring IQ, I believe, will carry him to win this fight. Not to mention, and people have to realize, and I don't think a lot of people realize, Gary Russell is pretty much basically training himself due to the fact that his father had his foot amputated. He's training himself. Now his father is there, but he's not up there because he had his foot amputated. So Gary Russell is pretty much training himself. Now he's going to have his brothers in his corner, and he's going to have, I forgot the other guy that usually beat it. He's going to be in his corner or whatever. So I don't believe that that's going to be an issue. I'm just putting it out there that this man is training himself, and so he's looking at everything from his eyes. He's not really getting it from a trainer's eyes of what he should be doing and what he should be looking for. He's getting it from his own eye. Not now. Gary Russell trains his brothers or whatever, so he knows what to look for, and he knows what he should be expecting. But like I said, it's a different thing when you used to having your trainer in your corner, and now all of a sudden for this fight you don't have your trainer in that corner. You got to get used to that because his father was in his corner his last fight. Now his father's not in his corner for this fight, so you got to get used to that. But yeah, Leon Robertson, I would love to see a stoppage. I definitely would love to see a stoppage. But I got it being a unanimous decision. I think Gary is going to outwork him. I think he's gonna he's gonna land more body shots, and I think he's just gonna be a little more elusive for Mark. I don't think Mark is gonna be able to hit Gary with any clean shots. Um, I mean, like I said, he hasn't been in the ring for almost 2 years. February 8th would have been 2 years. He hasn't been in the ring, so you might as well say he hasn't been in the ring for 2 years. So it's going to be interesting to see how he looks being back in a fight for 2 years, but I don't expect him to be that rusty because, like I said, he always in shape. It's just he had to get back in boxing shape. So it's going to be a nice look, and I can't wait to see that fight. And like I said, I'm trying to get there. I want to see that fight in person. I don't want to watch it on TV, but I will watch it on TV if I have to. But I want to see that fight in person. Um, but it's like I said, it's going to be a great fight, and I know everybody's excited to see him back in the ring, and I believe he's gonna get the nod in this fight, and I think, to be honest with you, I believe he's probably going to move up to 130. I think he's going to move up to 130. I'm not sure if he's going to move up to 130 after this fight, but I believe it's going to be. I mean, not in his next fight, but I believe he's going to move up to 130 in the future. Whether it's the next fight or the fight after that, I believe he's going to move up to 130 because, like I said, he had the belt. Come March, he will have the belt for 6 years, and nobody in that division has tried to unify with Gary Russell. Now they talk about the Josh Warrington fight. He turned down the Josh Warrington fight, and he told everybody he turned down the Josh Warrington fight because it wasn't in his best interest. Whether it was the money factor or whatever the terms was in that fight, whatever the terms was in that fight, it wasn't in his interest to fight Josh Warrington because it was more for Josh Warrington than it was for Gary Russell. Now, I not saying, and we all know that Gary Russell would have beat Josh Warrington, so that's not a question. It was just the terms of the contract. It didn't go in his favor. It didn't go the way he wanted. The money wasn't what he wanted, so he turned it down. So, um, and I heard Batman said on um, somebody other platform that they think about Chris Colbert being his next fight. They talked about making Chris Colbert before. It just never happened. So that would be an excellent fight, especially if Chris Colbert get this WBA belt. I would love to see that fight. I would love to see Gary Russell get another championship, and maybe he can get the fights at 130 because for some strange reason nobody at 126 want to fight him. Nobody's calling him out. None of that. So I don't know what the issue is. Why nobody? Whether it's um, the issue with Floyd Mayweather and Al Heyman or whatever, that has nothing to do with nobody calling them out. It would be one thing if, yeah. He said it on Tay Jones, and he said it on another platform as well. He said it on Tay Jones. I believe he said it last night on Tay Jones, but he said it on another platform as well. Um, but like I said, it has nothing to do with another fighter calling out Gary Russell. I mean, me personally, if you in the fighting game and you see this man has a championship belt and you want to be a champion, why not call him out? Especially if you believe that you can beat him. Right, Bumpy Toms. It was on Keon, yeah. Um, why wouldn't you call him out? Why wouldn't the other champions in the division try to unify with him? I mean, I thought the whole goal of once you become a champion is to try to get all of the belts so you can be undisputed and be called the champion. I thought that was the whole goal. So, I mean, that's another fight that they not trying to unify with for whatever reason. Just like Devin Haney, they're not trying to unify with Devin Haney for whatever reason. Whether they don't feel that they can beat him, they feel like it's too much risk and not enough reward. But Devin Haney going to be your biggest payday. What more reward can you get to that? And then who's to say that you don't edge out a victory against Devin Haney? Who's to say you don't edge out a victory against Gary Russell? So you can have two belts. You could be called undisputed, or you can get a big payday. So I don't understand how these fighters move or whatever. But yeah, I mean, but like I said, it's going to be an interesting fight this weekend. I can't wait to see it because it's been a long time since he's been in the ring. So hopefully he can get another fight before this year is out. There's been rumor of him and Tank Davis. There's been rumors of him and Chris Colbert. Any one of those fights, I like. I like any one of those fights. I mean, if he move up to 130 and he get the Shakur Stevenson fight, I like to see that fight as well. Or the Oscar Valdez. If Oscar Valdez happen to beat Shakur Stevenson, I like to see that fight as well. So is a lot of opportunities out there. It's just a matter of do these other fighters want to step up to the plate? Uh, Everybody talks about how Gary Russell didn't take the Devin Haney fight, but like I tell everybody, Gary Russell was at 126. You wanted this man to move up two weight classes to fight Devin Haney, and because whatever reason they had why the fight fell through is their reasons. I mean, I can't go against what they believe. Um, uh, Big Gary said he didn't want to do business with Bill Haney, so I mean it is what it is. But y'all gonna knock him for not fighting somebody that was two weight classes above him. Devin Haney wasn't gonna move down to 126. So I mean you can't knock that man because he didn't fight somebody two weight classes above him. And like I said, um, that fight was not a fight that they was asking for. They was calling out Bud Crawford. Devin Haney happened to step in there and said he'd take the fight. So I mean, Gary Russell wanted the fight, but his father didn't want to do business with Bill Haney. So I mean, what can you do when your manager saying, and your manager and your trainer is saying, nah, I don't want to do business with him. So it ain't really too much that the fighter going to do. The fighter not going to say, no, I'm gonna still do it. No, they're going to listen to their manager and their trainer. They said, no, don't do business with him. They're going to listen to him. So, and not to mention, that's his father. So, I mean, it is what it is. But like I said, you can't knock that man because he didn't move up 2 weight classes. So, if he'd have moved up 2 weight classes, and hypothetically speaking, say Devin Haney beat Gary Russell, or say Gary Russell beat Devin Haney. One, y'all gonna shit on Devin Haney because he beat Gary Russell. They're gonna say he moved up from 126 to fight Devin Haney, and you beat a smaller dude. So now y'all gonna shit on Devin Haney. Two, Gary Russell definitely ain't gonna get no fights because he wasn't getting no fights at 126. Now that he moved up and fought Devin Haney and beat Devin Haney, he moved up 2 weight classes and fought Devin Haney and beat him. And y'all was already scared to fight Devin Haney, and he beats Devin Haney, he still ain't gonna get no fights. So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you can't knock that man because he didn't fight Devin Haney. Like I said, if Devin Haney would have fought him, and if Devin Haney would have beat Gary Russell, y'all would have shitted on Devin Haney for beating Gary Russell. Oh, y'all, you beat little Gary Russell. He moved up 2 weight classes. Y'all would have shitted on him anyway. So it would have been, it wouldn't, I mean, it would have put Devin Haney's name out there, but the people that don't like Devin Haney would have still shitted on Devin Haney. They would have shitted on Devin Haney even more. So it wasn't no win for neither one of them, to be honest with you. Their names would have got out there. It would have been a big payday for them, but it wouldn't have been no win for neither one of them regardless, because nobody would have want to fight Gary Russell because he just beat Devin Haney, who everybody say is the boogeyman at 135, and Gary Russell moved up from 126 and beat Devin Haney. Nobody's going to fight Gary Russell. Nobody's going to fight Devin Haney for beating Gary Russell because everybody already know Gary Russell is the truth, and Devin Haney just beat him. They're already not fighting Devin Haney. They just going to shit on Devin Haney even more. So it wasn't no win for neither one of them, to be honest with you. So I mean, like I said, it is what it is. But I can't wait to see these fights. I want to see if the Oscar Valdez and Shakur Stevenson fight gets made. Oscar Valdez and Shakur Stevenson been calling out Oscar Valdez for quite some time now. Ever since they were down at 126, he's been trying to get Oscar Valdez. So, like I said, I mean, if the lawsuit is the reason why it happened, great. I mean, at least something good came out about it because, like I said, I believe Bud did it for his own selfish reasons, but at least something good came out behind it. But like I said, I believe it was a partial fact to the lawsuit and partial due to the fact that Lomachenko didn't want to fight Shakur Stevenson, and they didn't have another fight lined up for Shakur Stevenson because they know Shakur's been calling out Oscar Valdez. But that's all I got for y'all today. I will be back tomorrow. I appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe my channel if you're not subscribed, which I know all y'all are already subscribed to it. But just share my my channel and make sure you like my channel, whatever. And I'll be back tomorrow with y'all. Y'all will see me later on today on other people's platforms because I'm always in the boxing talk. It's your boy, Boxing Matchups. Appreciate you.